hand? Let me get a sense here. How many of you are at least a little bit concerned about their future? Okay, so we got something in common to talk about. So the most important thing for us to be aware of right now is that there is a raging war for the hearts and minds of your children and your grandchildren. That war has been going on for a long time, and that war is part of a bigger war. If you were to look down at from the 40,000 level, the enemy, you could say it's globalism, you could say it's Marxism, you could say it is the New World Order. But the bottom line is all these battles that we're fighting because that enemy has one goal, and that goal is to destroy our country. And they're going to destroy it by destroying the family, destroying the structures, destroying the three things that make a family, that make a country great. 1, faith in God. 2, the love for your family. And 3, the love for your country. And I can prove this to you by telling you one example. If you look at just one country that never gave that up, that's the country of Poland. Poland was literally wiped off the map. Did you know that? If you go back and you look at maps historically, you will see that there were times in history that Poland ceased to exist. Poland did not cease to exist as a people because of their love for God, their love for family, and their love for their country. They never gave up their identity as a Polish people. Are we ever going to give up our identity as Americans? No. So, the Child Protection League is an organization located here in Minnesota. We network across the country with hundreds of other individuals and organizations, and we are fighting one of those battles. And that battle is the battle for the hearts and minds of children. We do that by equipping parents and citizens with the tools that they need to speak up and take action. So Mark talked about getting involved in your local school board, getting involved in your local city council. I'm going to give you some actual tools that you can use to go in and do that kind of work, because I'm going to tell you exactly how they are coming after your kids. And the first issue that I want to bring to your attention is one that the Child Protection League helped stop in 2019, and the Liberals brought it back in 2020, but they didn't push it this year. We will continue to fight it because they are never going to go away until they're defeated. And that issue is comprehensive sexuality education. My friends, those of you who are my age, this is not the biology class you took in 6th grade. What they are teaching in the schools today under the heading of comprehensive sexuality education is basically anything goes with whoever you want, with however many people you want, and as long as it's consensual, it's okay. We have proof, and if you go to our website, we will give you all of the info that you need to be able to articulate and fight this battle. They are exposing kids to obscene material. They are grooming them for early sexual behavior, and then when they get into trouble, they're taking them to Planned Parenthood to solve their problems. How many of you want that future for your children and grandchildren? Anyone? No. The next issue I want to tell you about is critical race theory. Now, how many of you, this is blowing up across the country. How many of you have heard about critical race theory? Give me a sense. Okay. Critical race theory is like the latest iteration of the same garbage that they have already infiltrated the schools with. Prior to that, it was diversity and inclusiveness training. In between, you get the white privilege and implicit bias. It's been around, but for some reason, I think the reason today is because they aren't holding back. They have pulled off the mask. They are showing us exactly what they want to teach our kids using critical race theory, and that is to hate America and to hate your parents. And if you think that's too bold, just go to our website. By the way, it's on the flyers that my colleagues have been handing out, childprotectionleague.com. Look at the evidence. The third issue, and this one really ticks me off. Now, a lot of our work at the Child Protection League is done under public policy. A lot of it falls within school policy because it is a battleground and they are far advanced in what they're doing to get to your kids. But this last issue has to do with the culture at large. And this has to do with the fact that in the state of Minnesota, we have some of the weakest laws in the country when it comes to putting child predators away who are convicted of both producing child sexual abuse imagery, trading it, and possessing it. And let me give you just how horrifying these statistics are. The worst crime in that category is the production of child pornography. It is a crime of raping and torturing little kids and filming and making videos of it. In the state of Minnesota, and we're talking about the ones who were convicted of that crime, not charged, convicted, 60% of them walk away with probation. Are you okay with that? In the state of Minnesota, 74% of those who are convicted of trading in child pornography get probation only. Are you okay with that? In the state of Minnesota, 85% of those who are convicted of possession of child pornography get probation only. Now, for some reason, in this legislature, we have a state representative, Matt Grossel, former law enforcement, comes from northern Minnesota, introduced a bill to bring the Minnesota sentencing standards up to the level of the federal government, which would require prison sentences for those convictions. He introduced it in 2016, and he couldn't get anywhere. He introduced it in 2018, he couldn't get anywhere, and he introduced it again in 2020. Did any of you hear about those hearings? No, because in the Senate and in the House, nobody gave that bill a hearing. Senator Ingebrigtsen in the Senate is the author on that language in the Senate version, Matt Grossel in the House version. What I want you to understand, folks, is if you're not okay with these predators getting back on the street, you know, becoming the Boy Scout leader, you know, the church youth group leader, your kid's babysitter, the fact is it's not going to change unless you and I stand up and start talking to your legislators, the ones that represent you, and anyone you talk to, like I did when I saw Mark, who happens to be my senator. And my first question was, hi Mark, how are you? Why haven't you signed on that bill? Ask them. Sign on that bill. So go to the Child Protection League, get the information on the Protect Minnesota Kids Act, and let's get these predators off the street. How many of you think that child trafficking, child pornography is a problem in this country? Let me see a show of hands. Anybody feel like I do on that? Okay. So these are some of the issues that the Child Protection League works on. Here we are, you know, at a crossroads in our country. I think back to what our founding fathers did. So you have, a lot of you already know this, right? A woman asked Ben Franklin, what do you have for us? And he said, what? A republic, if you can keep it. That's the question for every generation, and that's the question for this generation. And I don't care if there's 3 of you out there or 50 of you out there. I'm here to implore you to take that question seriously, because that's the question today. Are we going to keep the republic, or are we going to let it fall? Those founding fathers pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to provide for us the country that we live in. And the reality is that the question for us might not require the cost of our lives. It might, but it's going to require something, wouldn't you agree? It's going to cost us something. It's going to potentially cost your time, your talent, your efforts, your popularity. Are your kids and grandkids worth it? They're worth it. Is the ideal of America worth it? It's worth it, I agree. So we got to be willing to take that stand. You know, Thomas Paine, he wrote about the summer soldier and the winter patriot, right? The summer soldier and the winter patriot, they were all on board until it got tough, and then they fled. The issues that the Child Protection League works on are not necessarily, you know, popular issues. They're not fun issues. They're issues that bring out real ugliness from the other side. But they're issues that are core to us winning the battle because they are core in the preserving of the family. So remember this: faith, family, and country is what makes you invincible. It's what makes me and our country invincible. Those foundations, and they can't destroy it. Only you can destroy the family. Only you can destroy this country by sitting back and not caring. And only you can allow the children to continue to be raped and tortured because you just weren't willing to take up the fight. With all the issues going on in our country, you are being called to something. I have no doubt in my mind you wouldn't be here if you weren't being called to something. And the question for us is to ask, what am I being called to? If you have a heart for protecting kids, if you have a heart for that fight, then come and join us at the Child Protection League. We have a narrow scope. Why? Because we can do that thing well and provide accurate, effective tools for people to go back and take back their school board, go back and get their kids out of the failing, disgusting public schools. And so let me end by saying that every hero in history, whether it was the Crusades or the Cristeros or the Founding Fathers or the heroes of the Civil War, they went on and the future wrote about them, and that's how we know who they were and what they did. And the future is going to write about us. So let's take up the cause, okay? God bless you.